Welcome back for the last part of One Man's Faith tonight. Again, my name is Neil Owen. I'm glad you're with me. And don't forget to give thanks. If you're just joining us, pause, especially tomorrow, before you eat. Just say, thank you, Lord, for everything you provided for us. Remember to give thanks to God. Okay, we are looking at the covenants. Now, I said there's 4 covenants. The first one is the blood covenant. Now, the blood covenant requires the shedding of blood. Okay? That's, it's as simple as that. The covenant requires the shedding of blood by sacrifice. It is a service covenant. In other words, it's where we start to serve one another. In many cases, it's between men. It's a you have this, I don't, but I have this, and you want that. And so, because it's kind of an exchange, it's like I got brains, you have brawn. I have brains, no brawn. You have brawn, no brains. So let's covenant together. Okay? That's, now I'm just, I'm being facetious when I'm not saying that you don't have. I'm just trying to make a point there, okay? That's one reason to have covenant. Another reason is love. And God started covenant with man because of love. Not because of I have this, you have that. But covenant also has requirements. And we can see this in the law that was given by God. God says, I'll be your God, I'll support you, I'll back you if you obey my commands. Okay? Now, it's not only with them. We can go back and really the first covenant that we see was with Noah. Noah had a covenant, and when Noah got off the ark, the first thing he did, it says in Genesis 8, and Noah built an altar to the Lord and took of every clean animal and every clean bird and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And the Lord smelled the soothing aroma, and the Lord said to himself, I will never again curse the ground on account of man. For the intent of man's heart is evil from his youth, and I will never again destroy every living thing as I have done. So because, and for some reason, Noah knew to sacrifice. We don't know why. We don't know how. He knew. Because remember, he was kind of the last righteous man on earth. Maybe because his lineage goes all the way back to Adam, came from Adam to Seth. Enoch was in there. Methuselah was in there. These were righteous people. There was kind of a God line that came down through Seth. And Noah was the end of that. And so Noah knew, it appears, to do these things. And so when he finally got off the boat, or the box really, it's called the ark. Well, the ark means box. It was a big box with all these animals. When he got off, he sacrificed to the Lord, and the Lord smelt that and said, I will never again wipe out man that way. God goes on and says, while the earth remains, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. And God blessed Noah and said to him, be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth. The fear of you and the terror of you will be on every beast of the earth and on every bird of the sky, with everything that creeps on the ground and all the fish of the sea. Into your hands they are given. That's one reason I believe that animals are afraid of us. Animals run from us normally. Animals run because God placed a terror of man within them because we aren't them. We are a different, totally different species. We're made in God's image. Animals aren't. And so we are totally different. We did not come from a one-celled amoeba through a long process to become who we are. God made us the way we are. Genesis tells us that. But here he says, I'm going to put terror, the terror of you in every beast and in every bird. Every moving thing that is alive shall be food for you. God made a change here. Before the flood, they were only to eat vegetables. Okay? The only reason for sacrifices were for clothing. That's what appears to be. There's nothing that is said. Nothing is said. But here, God specifically says, every moving thing that is alive shall be food for you. I give it to you as I gave the green plant for you to eat. Only you shall not eat flesh with blood in it. Okay? In other words, raw meat that still has blood in it. In other words, you can't just, like the animals do, you can't kill it and eat it right then. Okay? You've got to drain the blood out of it, really is what he's saying there. Surely I will require your lifeblood. From every beast I will require it, and from every man's brother I will require the life of man. So God is setting up things. He says, listen, this is for you, but this is what you have to do. You see, there's an exchange there. All right? He goes on and says, whoever sheds man's blood, by man his blood shall be shed. For in the image of God made him. All right? You see, this is what, if you want to call it, this is the death penalty. If you kill somebody, you are to die. God set that up. It's supposed to be a deterrent so that we won't go out. You see, people go out and kill people now, they end up with free meal and board. See, there's no deterrent. We've taken away any incentive for people to do right by taking away what God established. But this is all part of the covenant. And in verse 8 of chapter 9 it says, God spoke to Noah and to his sons with him, saying, now behold, I myself do establish my covenant with you and with your descendants after you, and with every living creature that is within you, the birds, the cattle, the beasts of the earth with you, of all that comes from the ark, even every beast, I establish my covenant with you. And all flesh shall never again be cut off by water of the flood. Neither shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. So in a sense, he's making a covenant not only with man, but with the animals, that he will never again destroy the whole earth, including every living creature, by the flood. Okay, this was God's promise. And he says, what I'm going to do is he says in verse 13, he says, I set my bow in the cloud, and that shall be for a sign of a covenant between me and the earth. It shall come about that when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the bow will be seen, and I will remember my covenant. In other words, God is saying, I'm putting that rainbow there not for you, but for me to see and remember my covenant. Isn't that neat? God, that's why. So when we see the rainbow, we can say, God, that's your covenant. That's your covenant with me. And by your seeing that, God, you are remembering what you have said and what you have done. And so that through the sacrifices that came, God set up that covenant. So a blood covenant is a service agreement, a service covenant where we agree. Now, a family comes into covenant. That's the first thing they do as part of the marriage, is they sit down and they covenant together to serve one another. It's the service part of it. And they eat a meal, which is the sacrificial part. Something dies for them to eat, and they have a meal. And both sides, the bride side and the groom side, say, I am your servant. We will walk together in this. Okay? So that's the first covenant. Now, I don't have time to cover the last three, which we'll do next time. All right? So remember, tomorrow between 1 and 4, at the Nye County Coalition building, which is the big multi-purpose building. I think it's kind of green. It's the big metal building. That's the Nye County Coalition. There where Mance Elementary used to be, the old Mance Elementary. They're doing it there. God bless you. Have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week.